you need an invalidation. So how do you do it? What I also saw yesterday on ETH, which also kind of gave me the hint of continued shorting, was this pattern here. I don't know if you see it, but it's like a rounding top. See that? So actually it was a lot easier to short ETH yesterday than it was BTC, because ETH was creating this nice round top. When I shorted BTC, ETH was here. It did take the high like 1, 2, 3 times, but it wasn't like you could have had a higher invalidation. Like the invalidation could have been above this candle. So you would have been fine. And you see how the price on ETH has come back to test this neckline, and it's been rejected. So I think the minute we get acceptance back up here, then you can look to long ETH again. You have a very clear upper range now, and you have this lower range, but we are making higher lows. So it is possible that we do get this kind of acceptance back into this upper range, and that would be, I think that would coincide with BTC, and maybe actually, you see, when you get this kind of formation and you get a back test on the neckline, you are expecting continuation. You see, you're expecting continuation. You're not expecting the price to come back into this upper range. So this would be a sign of strength, yeah, because that pattern has effectively failed, yeah, and this is what you'd be looking for. And I think this is going to coincide with BTC. I think after you have some kind of pattern like this, you'd expect continuation once you get a back test off the neckline. And at the moment, we've just got one test, look, one test, 2 tests. How many more times is this going to test before it gets back in? If that eventually the liquidity is going to be taken from this level, there'll be no more liquidity, and then the price will go and find acceptance into the level, a little back test, and we're off. And you've invalidated this idea, this pattern. The shorts have been invalidated. You're making higher lows. So actually, then you'll be looking to fill these red candles all the way up to this upper range there, all the way up to there, and then we can maybe form another kind of mini range before we try and get back into this upper range. And that's what the price would be doing. But even if it doesn't do that on the first instance, because if you've passed this range, it might come back down, find support here, pick up new liquidity to try and get back up. That's how the price moves. It's always trying to find liquidity, and it always moves from previous ranges to other previous ranges until it finally gets acceptance into previous ranges, or it gets rejected from previous ranges. And that's basically, you're always looking back to see what happened in the past to determine how the price is going to behave in the future. And it can only do like one of 2 or 3 things. It can't really do many things, because at every movement it's restricted. It's restricted by previous levels, always restricted by previous levels, you know. The fact that we had this kind of large drop, these red candles going down, to me it suggests that it's very likely that once we clear this, once we get acceptance back into this little range here somehow, maybe we'll make one more attempt, a high low, and then I think is very likely. Then we'll squeeze the top here because there'll probably be a lot of liquidation above here. We'll go and squeeze there, and I think all of this will fill very quickly. You'll get like one big push up. That would look very bullish if we do that. It's possible. And you see we've back tested this this SR flip. We're still back testing it. We've tested it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. You test it enough and it holds, the price would just go the other way. You see, sometimes you're testing and the price goes through, but sometimes you're testing and the price reverses. And I think in this situation, because we've taken liquidity from these lows, because the price is still ranging in this higher range, I think eventually we'll just make higher lows to go up. Actually, it looks like it to me. But let's see what happens. It's hard to predict the future. But I think the shorts, the bears have had many chances to push the price underneath this level, and this is what I'm seeing. Like, you've had many attempts to take the price down, to sell, and the price is still up, it's still holding. So for me, the longer this consolidates above this level, the more bullish I get on ETH. I think if the bears were in control, I would have expected a kind of a short consolidation. Maybe this pattern would have led to a drop, and that would have been like a failed auction. I think the fact that it's taking so long, to me, it suggests that there's strength. It's quite a long consolidation here, and I think the bears have failed. And so look, this is from the 2nd of December. We came into this higher range, and we're still in this range, yeah. And we're ranging basically between 2144 and basically between 2384. And you would expect there to be a lot of liquidity under these lows, because from this candle onwards, anyone up to this candle, anyone who's longing would have put their invalidation here. And 2 days ago, the liquidity was taken, the price closed higher. And so what does that mean? Well, that clearly means that despite all of these market sales, because that's what liquidations are market sales at the lows. Despite a market sales at the lows, the price closed higher. The price closed back in the top part of the range. Yeah. So despite all of the market selling, or despite all of that selling, the price closed higher, which means the price was bought up. There was enough volume of longs to keep the price above this key level, this SR flip. So I think as time passes, ETH is looking more and more attractive for long. And if I was to consolidate that idea with ETH BTC, you see ETH BTC is showing weakness. And I said yesterday, that despite the weakness that we're seeing in ETH BTC, ETH is showing strength because it's holding support. That tells you something. ETH BTC is showing weakness. ETH USDT is showing strength. The strength is holding support. So what happens when ETH BTC shows strength? The minute ETH BTC shows strength, ETH USDT is gonna rocket. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm seeing in the charts. And you know, you've had this again, it's the same idea. ETH BTC has had this prolonged let me clear these lines so it's easy for you to see. They're not relevant anymore. Keep that one. Get rid of those. Oh yeah. I mean, you've got this lower range in the same rate, in the same kind of level as this previous range. Yeah, see that? We've been making lower highs. This is a lower high. This is a lower high. This is a lower high. And we're making lower lows. That's a lower low. So we won't, this is a lower low. Actually that's not, because this went lower. But the point is that we're making lower highs and lower lows now. We have been for a while. So we still have bearish market structure on the daily time frame. We're still in a downtrend, right? But we have been consolidating in these lows since October, since the middle of October, and actually since the beginning of October, it's been a complete sell-off. The price of ETH versus BTC from the beginning of October to now has dropped 17%, right? So this is quite bearish. Despite that, the price is holding up quite nicely. I mean, this is how you're kind of trying to understand context. Yeah, despite that, the price is holding up quite nicely. I mean, 17% isn't that much in the scheme of things, whereas some other tokens may have sold off more compared to Bitcoin. Yeah, it's actually holding up quite nicely. It's holding up above 5 cents or whatever that is. It's not cents, is it? It's satoshis. So 5,000 satoshis, 0.05. It's more than 5,000 satoshis. Anyway, whatever that is, 0.05, that's like a midpoint. It's holding up above that level. And if you can consider let me see, on the higher time frame. I mean, it looks quite bearish, and we're not yet getting a big crazy sell-off. So that makes me wonder what's going on. People are still holding on to their ETH, huh? That's what it looks like to me. But I mean, who knows? Like, I mean, I'm just kind of like trying to work out the psychology of what's going on. I still think the 3 month, the 3 monthly, is it the monthly or the 12 monthly? I still think the 12 monthly time frame is bullish. I think these two candles are bullish candles, mainly because we've held this level here, which is the yearly level. It closed above the yearly level, and actually in my mind, like what I'm imagining is that we take the liquidity from these lows. So we could go all the way down to this second low. This is the low from 2 years ago, which is at about 94918. take that liquidity, and then swing failure that level and come back up. So that would be this level here. And actually that, for me, that is the best, that would be the best long on ETH. I would like to see that level taken and then see a swing failure there and then long ETH. And I think maybe that could coincide with Bitcoin finally being at the top of its range, and then the liquidity is going to transfer from Bitcoin back into ETH. But I don't expect us to crash through that level. And the reason why I don't is because we've had such a long downtrend. Like, there's been so much selling to get us to this point that it's not just going to escape this lower level instantly. I don't expect it to happen. I don't expect that. I think what could happen is people, if we do go down there, you'll get a lot of volume down there because some people will get liquidated or whatever, or they'll sell. They'll be like, oh, I'm done with this. This is rubbish. We're going to go down to zero, whatever. But actually, there'll be a reversal, an SFP, and then the price is going to rally. And then that rally is going to come from Bitcoin. Because all of a sudden there's going to be a lot of volume pouring into this from Bitcoin. And then we'll have to determine how strong that rally is, because ultimately what you want to do is you want to get back above the value area high and start working your way back up and reversing all of this. And effectively you're basically you're looking to take out every single one of these highs, and they will all be targets for a crazy ETH rally. But I think the sign of entry will be two things. Firstly, I would like, based on what I'm seeing here, I would love to see this level taken. And when I say taken, I mean I want to see an SFP. And it may not come actually, because this is a higher, this closed higher. So at the very least, I'd like to see this one taken, yeah? And then the lower one is this one. So you have two levels of swing failure of liquidity. If you can, like, it could do this and go back up, or it could do this and go back up. The minute it comes underneath this level and goes over, you have an invalidation, you can long, or this one. As soon as it comes over, you have your invalidation, you can long. You don't expect it to go over that level and then drop. That's why you have an invalidation, because that's not what you're expecting. You're expecting, if it goes under that level and comes back over, you're not expecting it to go down. Now you're expecting it to work its way up, or go under, push up, and then come back into the golden pocket and then continue. That's what you're expecting. So you have actually two opportunities to get in. One would be the swing failure, and the second one would be the first retrace, which usually would be at the golden pocket. Let me see. It may be like this, it may coincide, and then you have another, your invalidation then would still be underneath this level, because you're not expecting continuation. That's not what you're expecting. That's why you're longing. You're longing because you're expecting the price to go up, not to go down. Yeah, but you still need an invalidation, and you're still going to position yourself so you only risk a manageable portion of your portfolio. So if you do lose your trade, it's not a big deal. It's really important, right? But the trade to have here would be a swing failure of this lowest low if possible. But I would take the first low too, actually, because if it's bullish, it may not hit the lower low. It may just hold as a higher low on the highest time frame and continue going up. So I would probably, you'd be looking to lose that first trade if it went up and then it continued and it actually went to the lower low, because you would get invalidated. If it went like that, that would be the entry. This would be the invalidation, but you could go down, stop you out, and still SFP the lower low, and then you'd still enter. So you could possibly lose one trade if you took that first level. So that's why it may be it's always safer to wait for the first retrace, which usually will land in some kind of golden pocket area on the local time frame, on the local movement. And if you get that, the alts are going to start going a little bit berserk, because that is a sign of it's not a sign of weakness, that's a sign of no weakness. Like, weakness would be that. That's weakness. Weakness would be a squeeze down, like the minute we make another low here, you get like a crazy dump, because people are like out. They're out. They're like, done. This is shit. I'm out. The minute you lose the level and then you come back into the level, that's not weakness. That's a showing strength or lack of weakness. It's the reverse of strength. It's not strength, but it's not weakness. It's fake weakness. It's not really weak. The strength will come later, after there's no weakness, because when people see the lack of weakness, then they're going to start participating, and that's where the strength is going to come. Does that make sense? So, and I think getting back into this local range, let's see, we've lost it. We're now trading underneath it, and you can ignore this higher time frame channel, because that's just a guide. I can just get rid of that. It's not a big deal. You're not trading that. That's just giving me an idea of the bigger picture. But when you zoom in now, we're at a really critical point when it comes to ETH and when it comes to ETH BTC. And there's some really nice trades to be had if we get the right kind of price action. And the price action that I would be looking for is a swing failure. But this could be a higher time frame swing. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. This could be your position for the long run, for the whole of the rest of the bull market. This could be the low. Because when I'm looking at the yearly time frame, yeah, I am seeing a bullish formation at the highs. I'm not seeing a bearish formation. This was the TP, this was the bearish candle. It closed within range. It closed above this yearly level. It immediately sold off. There was no back test. That tells me that we're just going down to pick up liquidity before we push up. That's what this is saying to me. And so naturally, a good place to enter would be a swing failure of a previous year's candle. There's only two in play, last year and the year before, and those are the two levels that I've marked. So we're either going to take the level of last year and go back up, or we're going to take both of those levels and go back up. But we're really close to reversing ETH against BTC. Okay, if it's a big if we don't do that, that doesn't behave the way we want it to, then we're looking for lower for sure. That would look a lot really bearish if it did that. Yeah, because there isn't really much liquidity on the yearly time frame. The next level would be this previous high here, these two wick highs, and you're looking at about 20% further down from where we are now. Yeah, so I don't necessarily want to see that happen. I don't think it would, you know, any one of these wicks could offer support. Maybe the first instance would be here, but the reality is that you're heading for lower. Once you lose these two wicks, you're heading for lower. Yeah, which I've marked. This one here and this one. So actually I'll be looking for a swing failure of these two lows first. If we do lose those, then you just have to wait for the price to find support and settle down to see which one of these lower levels acts as support, because then you'd be looking to catch the dip, and I don't think that's a good idea. It's always better to let the price settle down, find support, form some kind of range on the local level, on the local time frame, and then you can determine how to trade that to go back up. Effectively, that's what you're looking to do. But I think after all of this selling, we're almost exhausted. That's what I'm like seeing. And even though we're making lower highs and lower lows, I think maybe we could make one more low, swing failure these lows, and then I think alt season for me is going to be when ETH starts, this ETH versus BTC starts showing some real strength, and probably when we get some kind of close up there, that's when I think once we get above this level, this value area high on the highest time frame, and we back test it in some meaningful way to show it as support, I think then we're going to have a crazy alt season on our hands, because then this is just going to rally. ETH BTC is going to rally, and we have a lot of levels, a lot of liquidity to grab. The whole thing will then start looking really bullish again, and no longer will it look bearish, and people will be looking to enter because they're going, oh my god, we've just made a low, we've just formed a low, and now the price is going up. And people like that. You know, people don't like it when the price goes down, they like it when the price goes up. So what they're looking for now, what we're looking for now, is a reversal. Okay, so that's I think that's ETH BTC. I think ETH is looking quite bullish actually. It's holding support on the higher time frame. As long as we hold this key level, which is a previous highs, and we can get, as long as we don't get any closes underneath it, then we should be okay. And obviously, as I was saying with Bitcoin, just wait. Bitcoin is a bit crazy right now, and just wait, be patient.